Welcome to the Irish Expat podcast. In today's episode, we'll be covering the Island of Ischia. We'll be chatting about why we went to Ischia, Ischia Porto, Ponte and Forio, transport, accommodation, food and fun, the value for money, and some overall tips from Italian residents if you're planning on visiting Italy. Hi, I'm Jane.
And I'm Cormac.
And welcome to the Irish Expat podcast. We've been on the road for a year travelling the lengths and breadths of Italy.
Season 1 is all about our travels from the southern city of Naples to Lake Garda in the north.
We'll be giving our best tips and tricks and talking about our highlights and mistakes.
And how we've ended up moving to Florence.
This episode is all about a return to the south and going to Ischia after 1 year of Italian living. Make sure you're subscribed, and if you like this episode, then please give us a 5-star rating. You can find us on Instagram and TikTok and find out all about us at altlivin.com. The final episode
of season 1.
It only took a year.
We're really terrible at this.
Oh my God. We're going to be better in 2024. But by God. Well, no. Maybe you might be a little bit less on the podcast and we might have some
You
guests
what?
over.
You're trying to push me out?
Not trying to push you out, love. Not trying to push you out. But yes, we have essentially released one episode per month. Although we did have a good 3.5 month gap there.
Yeah, and we just bulk recorded a load. But nothing about that.
No. So this episode is all about Ischia. Will we talk about some fun facts?
Fun facts of Ischia.
Woo.
Well, what's most known for, first of all, is that sweet thermal baths.
And I wish you had that now because your back is killing you.
Yeah, well, sure, look.
So, yeah, they've got some beautiful thermal water, thermal gardens, all that kind of stuff since ancient times.
Yeah, it's a big old volcano in the middle.
Yeah, due to the volcanic nature. So there's a load of spas, and it's one of the largest spas in all of Europe. So, yeah, go to Ischia if you want to relax.
If you want a nice time, a hot bath.
Because of all of the volcanic soil and everything, it has beautiful ancient vineyards with some of Cormac's favourite wines.
Yeah, the wine is absolutely bitchin' there.
Yeah, it is really good.
It's really small, it's hard to find. You can't find Ischia wines all over Italy.
You have tried?
I have tried. There are some companies, but it's quite expensive. Some of it is, the wine is cheap in Ischia, but to obviously, get it shipped over and export it and everything, it's quite expensive.
No, I was trying to find a bottle for my dad for Christmas, and
it's been difficult, because obviously in where we live in Florence, it's all about Chianti, baby.
Yeah. Then Procide, also featuring my dad. So Procide, my dad always wanted to go to, which is an island nearby. It's where parts of the film Il Postino was filmed. And if you are Irish, then you will know that was taught on the English leaving certificate or junior certificate.
There you go.
So yeah, my dad.
They also started filming Cleopatra there as well.
Interesting.
They started it and then moved it for some reason. I don't know the reason why they moved it. But
sure, the locals just were asking them for a load of money.
yeah. Just get the hell out of here. And also, as one local in a restaurant told us, they're known as the rabbit-eating people.
Yes, so you would think that it would be like fish or whatever, bay.
No, it's a very heavy meat island. In fairness, but yeah, they used to be infested with rabbits, and yeah, they just every Sunday apparently is tradition is their Sunday roast is a Sunday rabbit.
Yeah, which
is awesome.
Apparently has no nutritional value whatsoever, but it is delicious.
It is absolutely divine.
Yeah, and I've had rabbit in Ireland a few times, and it's been shocking. So yeah, I would highly recommend if you're up for eating some rabbit, then
go to Ischia. All right, so getting to Ischia
can be a little bit tricky if you're a bit nervous.
Well, for those who don't know where Ischia is, it's just off the Bay of Naples, close to the island of Capri, which everyone knows is one of the most touristy destinations ever.
Yeah, a load of people go to Capri. Don't go to Capri.
No, it's just hordes and hordes of tourists, like a cattle mart.
And Chanel shops and Gucci shops. Yeah, and you're going to be charged €12 for a Coca-Cola.
All the local residents hate you.
Yeah, so just don't go to Capri. Instead, go to Ischia. But it does take around the same amount of time. So you maybe get off your plane in Naples. Naples is the closest airport. Or you'll have to go to Naples train station anyway if you're coming from anywhere else in Italy. And then you have to get out to Naples port, which isn't that far. It's about 10 minutes in a taxi, or you can get the metro.
Yeah. Or you can walk as well.
Yeah, you can walk
25?
Well, 25 minutes for your long legs, love.
Yeah,
but
30 minutes for the mortal folks.
And add another 10 minutes if you've got a suitcase. So. But yeah, so you can get to the port very handily, and there are boats going all day. You just rock up. There's a little kind of kiosk there and you buy your tickets. You can buy your tickets online, but it's a little bit confusing. So I'd say just rock down to the port. There's boats going every hour, and there's a little bar restaurant-y place there that you can just kind of chill out.
It's very well organized as well. Like kind of all the piers and all the entries are very well designated.
Yeah.
You know, port A, B, C, D. They're all really well signed. So it is very simple to find your boat. They won't let you go astray.
Although not very easy to find the port itself. So to get to Capri or to get to Ischia, you want to go to the port that's directly behind the castle.
Yeah.
Don't go to any other port. There's about 14 ports across Naples, so you want to go to the one by the castle.
Yeah, the main port, basically.
Yeah. So my father was actually advised not to get the hydrofoil, but it was the quickest way to get over there. And so I said, F you, we're getting the hydrofoil, plus it's the cheapest. So we rocked over on the hydrofoil and it was great. It was super calm on the way over, a little bit rocky on the way back, but nothing too major.
No, nothing too major.
We were going in September, so the weather was fab. And it wasn't too bad. I wouldn't like to see it on a rocky day now. I wouldn't be going over in November.
I wouldn't be going over in November. Yeah. I'm sure it's quite dodge.
Yeah, but there was a bar. Do not go to the toilet in the boats. They are horrendous.
Yeah, they're disgusting. They're boat toilets. Yeah.
Yeah, just
that should be very basic for anyone.
Yeah, just absolutely avoid the toilets. And so the boats cost about €20 per person to €25, depending on the time of season that you go. And if you book in advance, it can be a little bit cheaper. But again, sometimes the boats could be delayed and whatever. So I would recommend just rocking down there and getting your boat whenever you feel like it. When you're on Ischia itself, I was a little bit concerned that maybe because there's no obviously trains or anything like that in Ischia, but there's buses. There's like a whole ring route going around one way. So if you want to go clockwise, it's one bus. If you want to go anti-clockwise, it's the other way, or it's the other bus. So it was very simple to get the buses there. We had gotten a recommendation that the buses were going to be extremely packed, which I've seen videos of it, and no bene.
No, like sardine cans on wheels.
Yeah. And because we booked a couple of little trips, I decided to stay in Ischia Ponte, which is right beside literally the main port. So I was thinking maybe we could get the boat over to the other side of the island, which is Forio, or there's taxi ranks there, or you could hire a car, or you've got all of your options there.
E-bikes, the whole lot. Yeah. Scooters, if you have a license. Like there is loads of options for transport, in fairness, and taxis aren't that expensive either. Yeah,
but we'll talk about it. We'll talk about our full accommodation in a second. But we did stay in Ischia Ponte. And the reason that I decided for that was, again, because the accommodation, we had a couple of day trips and stuff. But to get to Ischia Ponte, it was about a 20-25 minute walk to get to the Castello.
Yeah.
Which wasn't bad at all in the height of heat. It felt like it wasn't mighty. But we did have access to the taxis and the buses and the boats, which was great. So, and we were staying right on the port.
Right in the marina. It was absolutely stunning.
Yeah, it
beautiful.
It was brilliant. So the one thing I'll say is that we did get a taxi one day from Ischia Ponte all the way over to Forio for 5 of us, and we were charged €50. So it was €50 one way and then €50 on the way back. Now we did have the best taxi driver of all time. Pepe was class.
Pepe was an absolute legend. He was just like, talk about a man who knew absolutely, obviously everything about his island, but was just so kind. And we were worried of where we were going. It was because the other side. He was just like, no, I'll be here. This place closes at 7 o'clock. I'll be here to collect you at 7. I'll wait outside the gate. Yeah. And we were like, I think Jay, you thought that he wouldn't be there. I was like, no. He was like, telling us all about the island on the way over. He was put me in the front seat so I could speak Italian to him.
Yeah, he was super nice.
Yeah, he was absolute gent. So that was really, really good fun. But he was amazing.
So yeah, if you find Pepe in Ischia Porte as your taxi driver, tell him that we say hello, because it was super nice. So we were with a group. We were with my family, so there were a bit more of us. But if it was just the two of us, then we would have definitely gotten the e-bike situation. And that was €25 per person, which is I feel like that's quite expensive. But sometimes if you stay in some of the fancier hotels around like Ischia Ponte, they can include that in the cost of the hotel. So do think about if you guys fancy a bit of an e-bike situation. But yeah, you can get e-bikes for €25 if you pick them up at 9 a.m. and drop them back at 6.
Yeah.
Which is fine. It's like €50 for a day to cycle around the island. You could definitely get to Forio and back, bring a picnic or go to a restaurant on the way. But I just found that was a little bit expensive, seeing as you could hire a car for the exact same cost per day, but get that car for 24 hours. So one of the cheapest cars that I found was like €25 to €29 per day based on the off season. And when we were there, the cheapest car that we could hire was €35 for 24 hours.
Yeah.
So, it's if one of your group decides to stay sober for the day, maybe just say, I'll buy all your drinks for the following day and you'll have your money back.
It's a handy way to get around, to be fair. But I do know as well, a lot of the hotels that we've stayed in Italy, they've all had either like discount codes or vouchers for like the e-bikes and rental companies that they work with. So definitely if you're staying with the hotel, ask them when you call up before you arrive, and they might be able to give you a good deal.
Yeah, and they will just book everything for you as well. So that could be really handy.
So accommodation. So you picked out a beautiful Airbnb for us, which was stunning.
Thank you. I was under slight constraint because it wasn't just for the two of us. It was for like 5 of us, and it was 5 adults, 2 sets of couples and 1 adult. So little bit tricky.
It was tricky. I remember you were looking at accommodations for 3 or 4 people at the start. We weren't sure how many of us were actually going, like a month beforehand. So there was like loads of different options all around the island. But unfortunately, because it was 5, it was trying to find a large enough Airbnb.
Mm-hmm.
I think you did extremely well.
Thank you.
It was on the top of Mount Everest. There was 4 flights of stairs. Which your parents did not appreciate.
As my dad would say, like after he climbed up the first 2 flights of stairs, he'd be like, base camp 1.
Wasn't an easy one after we did the shopping, and we had to carry up like 18 bags of alcohol and wine and beers, which were obviously necessary for the holiday.
And a million snacks for my dad.
About a million snacks.
But no, the best thing about our accommodation, so it was through a person called Luca on Airbnb. It was right on Ischia Porte, right on the marina. And when we checked in, and we are a family that drinks water like fish. And when we checked in, they had stacks and the poor souls, because there was no lift.
There was no lift, and there was about 20 cases of 2-liter bottles of water.
Fair play to them. I don't know how they did it.
It was like one of the best situations we've ever found.
Yeah,
it was brilliantly set up at Airbnb. Like unless
it was just like left over from numerous people just bringing.
I would doubt it. It was all the same brand.
No, fair play to them. They were a gorgeous couple as well, and sat with us and gave us all the bus directions. Yeah. We'll leave a link to their Airbnb in the description, by the way. But
yeah, what was it? It was a 2-bed, then with a really large sitting living room area with
2 sofa beds.
With 2 sofa beds.
You could sleep up to 8 there if you wanted. And there was a big terrace out the back with like a shower out the back as well.
Outdoor shower, loungers, table and chairs, the whole shebang. It was absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, and like a full kitchen as well. So no, I really have to say they were a lovely couple, and fair play, they're running a good show there. It was exceptionally clean as well, which was great for all the fam. But yes, just like the whole of Italy, if you're staying on the 4th floor, there's most likely not a lift. So be prepared to climb.
Yes. Yeah. Unfortunately, a lot of the older buildings in the older cities do not have lifts. So get those trainers on it.
So for food, I'm going to start with a little bit of a negative, even though I don't want to start with a negative, but let's start in a negative and end on a positive, which is a place called Trattoria. It has 4.7-star reviews on Google, and we thought, yes, this will be amazing. Like, let's treat the fam. We'll go out there one night. And unfortunately, on our Airbnb reviews, we had been warned about a restaurant nearby, and it was like, don't get suckered in by this one kind of friendly guy.
Yeah, the Italian owner, yeah.
He pegged us the minute we were walking in. And
he was very forward, very direct, very much like we were walking past. He's like, oh, hello, welcome. He's like, don't go up there. There's nothing up there. Yeah. Don't go that way. He's like, come to my restaurant. You know, kind of very strong arming us.
Yeah. And so I looked up the reviews and I was like, great. Okay. Like, it's not the most reasonably priced, but like, it's right on the marina. Why not? Like, let's have a beautiful meal. The wine was impeccable. I have to say, the wine was really good value, but there was a pizza menu which wasn't on the actual menu. And when we asked about the pizzas, he started kind of diverting some of us back to the rabbit. A lot of us weren't like kind of not fish eaters, but we wouldn't be like clam or sea. Yeah. You know, we wouldn't be kind of shellfish type of people. And so three of us ended up getting the rabbit dish, which was the most expensive dish on the menu.
Yeah, by far.
Which, you know, rabbit, it's what they're known for, but we did find rabbit in a lot of other places for maybe half the price. And so we did have a beautiful meal. It was all fine. I had one of the most beautiful tiramisus that I've ever had in my life. That was brilliant. But the bill did come to a bit of an extortionate price. And seeing as that we were paying, I was like, I'm just going to check the bill on this. I just had a bit of a funny feeling about it. And so when I went in to pay, it actually turned out that there was an extra main and an extra starter put on it. And there was an extra few copertos, and just these kind of weird extra charges. And so once I started speaking a little bit of Italian to them, the bill got fixed up immediately.
Yeah.
So I ended up kind of saving €30 on the bill, which, you know, they gave me a 200 and maybe €80 bill, and I walked out with maybe a €240 bill. And after that mess up, I was like, I'm not giving you as big of a tip as I would have. So, you know, still for 5 people, it was still really good value to be right by the marina. And we did get like, you know, a starter to share, and we got 2 desserts and all the rest of it. But I just thought that they were trying to rip us off a little bit. So I just want to put a little bit of a warning out there where, you know, as my father would say, don't always believe the Google reviews.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, it was just a little bit disappointing.
Now, moving on to good places, love.
We'll go from the low to the high.
So, chicken place, as we've beautifully named it in our notes.
I think it's my mother's favourite restaurant in all of Italy.
It was the happiest I've seen your mother over the whole holiday. It was incredible. But in fairness, it was absolutely amazing food. Mm-hmm. It was actually, funny enough, a recommendation from Pepe, our taxi driver. We were driving back from the Forio, and he just said, if you guys like, you know, chicken, and we drove past, and then we could see the chickens all being...
see them. Me and my mother could have smelt them from 2 miles away.
2 miles away.
I think we could have smelt them from Forio, to be honest.
100%. But they were all being roasted in a huge outdoor...
spit thing,
Spit roast, yeah. It was absolutely divine. So we all went in there and got like a half chicken each, pizzas, starters. I mean, they were looking at us like, are you still ordering food? What's
they were
going
genuinely
on?
Concerned that we wouldn't be finished eating by the time the restaurant closed. And they had some of the best rosemary and garlic potatoes. And I hadn't gotten rosemary and garlic potatoes.
You hadn't gotten good rosemary and garlic potatoes.
Yeah, in a very long time, especially in all of Italy. So it was absolutely class. We'll put it in the description. It's called Antico Gyrosto.
Gyrosto Istiano.
So it was absolutely beautiful, very casual, just kind of benches inside, super cheap drinks, and just, God, we got bang for our buck that night. Like,
hell yes, I go back there in a heartbeat.
So we got starters for everyone. We I think actually one of the members of the family got like a pizza just as a starter, just for the crack. Then we got 3 sets of potatoes. Then we got chips as well. Then we all got half roast chickens.
Veg as well, spinach, like the whole 9 yards.
There was a bit of salad. Mom was digging into the salad. And rake of drinks, a few different beers and a load of wine as well. And for that value for money, I mean, we would have stayed there all night if they were going to stay open. So.
Oh my God, yeah, absolutely.
They were kind of shocked by our level of savagery. But we had been to a spa that day and hadn't eaten that much, so fair enough. But we did eat them out of house and home.
They loved us. So the next place that when we went was also in the Marina area, was Pizza Village. So I think we'd found it through like a shitty little bar that we love. You know, when I say this shitty little bar, I just mean we always look for a terrible bar sign. If you've been listening to the podcast, so we saw that little bar sign, and then behind us was this massive pizza restaurant.
Cormac was absolutely starving, essentially, one day.
Yeah, pretty much, as I am a lot of days. And I just saw this place, and it was absolutely class. It was right beside the bar, and I went in, and they just did the big square slices of pizza. I think it was really good value as well. I don't know if we got
asked for 2 slices, which came to €6, but the 2 slices were actually 4 slices.
Yeah, there were 4 slices, but it was just... Yeah.
So you got 2/3 of a pizza for about £6, and it was savage.
Oh, it was so good, because it just looked like just a normal takeaway, and you see so many of them in Italy that just have the little counters inside, the glass boxes full of pizzas. You're like, oh, they're just like reheated, they're not that nice. These were absolutely savage.
Now, you were a bit upset because you ate it on the pier and then the wasp arrived.
Yeah, wasp kept flying into the pizza box, which was very annoying, but still enjoyed my pizza. Yeah,
as a couple, we definitely go there for lunch or whatever, just to keep
just as a really, you as well, if you're landing into the port and you're starving and you're maybe getting to Forio or whatever, it's literally one of the first places you come by, Pizza Village, and it's just nice, simple takeaway, really cheap, but really good pizza. And I have no bad words to say about it.
No. And then right beside there, so we did eat a lot actually just around Ischia Porte, and I feel bad for anyone who's staying in a different area, but at least if you're going to visit Ischia Porte, you'll have a couple of reviews. So we went to, we'll link it in the description because it's the longest name of all time, but essentially if
Will I give it a go?
Go on.
Ristorante Pizzeria Fratelli La Bufala by Giardini di Enzo. It's a bit of a mouthful, isn't it? I think it is known as La Bufala on one of the signs, I think. But long ass name.
It's around the corner from Pizza Village, and it is a beautiful setting in the garden. I have to say,
it's just a massive enclosed courtyard, and it has a few little rooms in indoor spaces off the courtyard. So it's really nice because you can kind of have private parties there. You can have different groups. Mm-hmm. It's on 2 levels, I think, as well.
Yeah, and directly across in the port as well. Yeah. But the staff were professional enough. There was a huge party of Italians in while we were there, so I think they got a little bit more of a focus than we did, and the staff didn't have the most English, so they got a little bit confused by our order. Yeah,
I had to take over the kind of orders for us in that place, but it was mainly just because there was 25 Italians with kids trying to get all the food out, which was a fairly restaurant, a handful to say the least.
Yeah, and I'm not sure, by the looks of that restaurant, I'm actually not too sure if they would even be open in the winter time. I feel like it was kind of coming towards the end of that season.
Yeah, very seasonal restaurant, because they only have very small indoor seating, I believe, from what I could see going into the toilets and stuff through the restaurant. So,
but I think middle of summer, sitting there right by the port, it would be absolutely stunning. Wine menu wasn't that extensive, so if you're not drinkers but you're into food, the food menu was quite extensive, and I think it was good value for money. Pasta dishes were around 10, 11, 12 euro. Pizzas were anywhere between 8 to maybe 15 euro. Yeah. One of our group got a mad looking pizza.
It was like a cornucopia. It was like a devil's horn pizza. So it was the pastry was all wrapped up and twisted into horns, and it was absolutely mad. But it was, apparently, he said it was really tasty. Mm-hmm. So.
Yep. And I got a kind of cod and chips. We had been to Naples just before we had stayed in Naples, which again, I would recommend if you are going to Ischia, definitely stay in Naples for a night or two beforehand.
Yeah.
But my father had gotten a beautiful sea bass dish over in Naples, and I was so jealous of it. So I kept on ordering sea bass, and it kept on not being the same dish. So, you know, I got like a fried sea bass dish, and they got confused and thought that I ordered it as a starter. So I had to eat on my own, and then they brought the rest of the food out. So they just got a little bit confused. But I think overall, if you had a little bit of Italian, or if you were just a couple and going for a simple, this is our starters, this is our mains, then they wouldn't get confused, and that would be fine. But yeah, overall, I think it was a pretty solid and like really nice ambience kind of place. I think it's a place that you could stay for a couple of hours, and like if you had a bottle of wine, you could kind of chill out there for the evening. And so now we move on to fun.
Fun.
And I have to say, there is so much to do in Ischia. I feel like it's kind of like a tailor opposite of Lake Garda, but there's still so much to do.
Yeah.
I think if you're a couple, there is so much to do. I'm not sure if it's like the most kid-friendly place, but oh my God, there was so much. So we'll start off with, we were staying in Ischia Porte. There was a fabulous beach, and there's fabulous beaches all over the island.
Yeah, it's stunning.
You can't go wrong with a beach there. There was beach loungers. You could hire the beach loungers. They weren't too expensive in some places, but even if you did get some places, you could go to the beach bars nearby, and like you could get a huge beer for like €5 a go. You could get food there.
We literally had a table in the sand on the beach. It was just so beautiful to sit back. The beach was about 10 meters in front of us. Sorry, the ocean was 10 meters in front of us.
Little bit seaweedy in September.
A little bit seaweedy in September, but that's to be expected. So it doesn't smell like Irish seaweed, so that's great.
Yes. And there were public areas that you could go and attend as well. So you're not just limited that you have to get a private space.
Yeah.
But yeah, loads of different beach houses.
What I really liked as well was this beach in particular was one of the first ones I've seen. That had a disabled pathway and access point that ran from the car park all the way down to the center of the beach, and had like a little covered shelter.
Yeah,
which was really cool. It was a really nice thing to have. So if anyone is like hard walking or in a wheelchair, Ischia is really actually quite accessible, especially for the beach.
So then our first day, so we landed in on a Thursday. And we kept ahead on the Thursday because we had a big tour at midday the following day, which was we were going to go to Procide. And my dad always wanted Procide. So my dad had always wanted to go to Procide because that's where Il Postino was filmed. And so instead of spending a night there, because there's very little Airbnbs there, and it's quite a small island, I said, why don't we go and do a day trip there? So I went on to Get Your Guide, which I've mentioned a few times before. Again, not affiliated, not whatever. Someday
maybe. So if you're listening, get your guide.
But we did get this day trip tour, which was €79 per person, so £80 essentially. And it was a big boat, and there was a group of 5 of us. 12 people in total were allowed on the boat. I was a little bit concerned about my mother getting on and off the boat, but it was totally fine for her. And yeah, it was just a lovely half-day trip, 3 hours.
We got on the boat. They brought us out some small Peroni beers. They were really accommodating. They spoke good English as well. So they were really nice. The boat was stunning. It had a full leather bed up the front, like a bench on the cabin. It was,
so yeah, we kind of situated ourselves up there with a lovely girl from the UK as well. And so we got the boat out there. You get about an hour to walk around, as they said. Now, I was a little bit disappointed because it did say that included in the tour was that they would go to the far side of the island and show you where the beach from Il Postino was filmed, and they did not do that, which probably my dad would have been a little bit disappointed about. But still, to get to the island and to walk around it, we, within the hour, we walked up to the highest
point of the island and had a beautiful view looking back down on the small village.
Yeah, so we had a nice little coffee there and came back down, got back on the boat, and they pulled out just about 100 meters or maybe 200 meters away from the island. And we all had like a beautiful view, jumped off. You could go for a swim. quite choppy.
It was a good bit choppy, in fairness. It was still really nice, but it was, when we were anchored, it was very choppy.
Yeah, I was a little bit wary in case I'd go in or not. So Ollie's jumped off and I was like, oh Jesus, will I be able to get back on? But the boat was really well set up. So yeah, we jumped back. Like I jumped
had
off.
a big deck and a ladder on the back, and they gave us all like the pool noodles like to swim with. So that was really nice. So we had a lovely refreshing swim, and then they took off again and brought us back towards the island. And then we had another, what did they give us? Like little chocolates and like a shot as well of limoncello before we got off the boat.
However, I started to get pretty boat sick at this point in time. And so, just maybe go on that boat tour to figure out if you can actually get boat sick or not. It was just, I think, being stagnant and the rockiness.
Definitely sitting on the boat when it was anchored was the rockiest it was, because you had a lot of passing boats going back to Ischia and back and forth. So you had the waves obviously crashing in. But yeah, no, it was rocky, but it was definitely worth it. It was so, like, if you don't get affected from seasickness, it's so much fun. Like jumping off the boat, off the very front of the boat. And, when the swells were coming in, you were jumping 10 meters. It was absolutely really cool.
Yeah. So I got back to the house and I ended up getting quite ill. So I had to go for a little lie down.
For like a good solid 3-hour nap.
Yeah. I wasn't doing quite well after that one. But no, it was still lovely. And then the next thing that we did was we went to the Castello.
Yes, Castle Castello Aragonese, which was stunning. So you'll see it on the way in. It's off a little peninsula just in front of Ischia Porte. But
it's a whole town built on like this wee little island.
Yeah, and it's just a small, like, narrow road leading out to it over a small bridge, and it is just breathtaking, absolutely breathtaking to look at.
Mm-hmm. We walked from Ischia Porto to Ischia Ponte, and it took us about 25 minutes, maybe 30 minutes. And we went to the Castello. I think it was, how much was the entry fee? Maybe €6 to €8, depending.
Yeah.
You definitely got a reduced rate.
I got a reduced rate for being
a young one.
for being under 26, which was great.
Yeah. But yeah, so we rocked in there. Now we did get there pretty late in the day.
Yeah.
Which ended up working out way better later on in the day. But the brilliant thing was, now it's a hike. It is a trek going up. I mean, there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of stairs. But my mother obviously wouldn't have been able to climb all of those stairs. And so there is a secret lift.
Yes. So the lift really is only for older or disabled people, basically. It's older, behind the desk.
Pregnant. Yeah. If you have a baby.
Mobility issues, the general stuff. So, they obviously recommend when you start the tour that you go in through the gates and you walk up. But because of your mother, we ended up asking for the lift, and the lady was so lovely.
And it was class. English. Just get the lift.
Just blag your way into the lift, because it's just so much handier.
Because the lift only brings you halfway up anyway, so you
still have to hike. Yeah. You absolutely still you have a good bit of work to do when you're up there, but the lift just eliminates most of the walking, which is fantastic. But up there itself, I mean, it's stunning. There's a bar and a cafe
right
at the very
top.
Yeah. So you can chill up there when you get there.
And
have a nice
fair
drink.
play to my mother for getting up there.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
I was fading.
I know. We were all kind of fading at that point. But the castle is steeped in history. It's really stunning. It's a whole community village from hundreds of years ago. And there's the like old prison. There's the old like wine cellar where they used to produce their own wine in the castle.
And a torture chamber.
Well, they had all the torture devices they used to use there, which was, I think, all of our favorite part of the tour, because some of the tortures were just insanely.
I don't think my mother really appreciated it, but
no, but the rest of us did.
Yeah,
because it was incredibly gory, but it was just like fantastic detail.
Yeah,
but no, really, really cool.
It was just fantastic, and like the whole way around was just this beautiful vista of sea and boats going all around. Like you can see on a clear day, you'd definitely be able to see Mount Vesuvius from there.
I think we could when we were there. We could definitely see Capri.
Yes, you could definitely see Capri. I wasn't sure if we could see Naples, but yeah, it was just absolutely stunning.
Yeah.
So then we rocked back down from the Castello down to a bar right beside the Castello, and you would think the closest bar to the Castello with a view of it would be really expensive, and it wasn't. So we went to this place called Ristorante Bar de Coco, and they had the most amazing cocktail. So all you want to do after that walk, because whatever about the hike up, the hike back down was just as long.
Yeah.
And we were wrecked. And we only went for like a half day. So we rocked into this Ristorante Bar de Coco and we got cocktails. And they were really, really good value cocktails.
Yeah, really strong cocktails and really cheap cocktails.
Yeah.
And well made. So we were planted for the evening and it was incredible.
Delighted.
Because as well, we got extremely lucky because then we noticed there was some sort of festival, like stalls.
We didn't notice. Jerry noticed.
Jerry noticed straight away.
Noticed.
Your dad noticed the stage being popped up and thought it was his moment to shine. So yeah, we spotted a little kind of festival, what looked to be a festival being set up. So we started asking the guys in the bar and they were very much like, yeah, there's a Arcangelo Michael festival. So the patron saint.
Yeah, their patron saint. So essentially it was St. Patrick's Day in Ischia.
Yeah.
And we just managed to be at the heart of where they celebrate.
Because it comes from the castle itself. That's where it all starts. So it's like a whole... Man, it was absolutely incredible. Like they light up all the streets with these beautiful, beautiful like LED. Like,
we thought that they were getting ready early for Christmas in September.
Yeah. We genuinely thought it was just like, it kind of looked like nearly like Galway's lights, going down Shop Street.
Yeah.
But it was all through the town leading up to the castle. And it was absolutely incredible. But we spotted then as well the best thing ever, which we love, is that they were setting up. We saw a massive barbecue.
Oh man, we knew the porchetta sandwiches were coming.
So they were making fresh porchetta sandwiches. They were only a $5, I think, for a sandwich, but you get whatever you wanted on them, like loads of stewed vegetables, pork. You had options for chicken as well.
And my favorite was that it was a bunch of men trying to set it up, and then after an hour and a half of them almost setting the bar on fire and putting smoke everywhere, just this little old Nona came in and just started screaming at them, being like, no,
yeah.
What are you doing?
And then obviously that Nona's daughter came over, who was just as
not happy,
and the guys went very sheepish all of a sudden, but it all got sorted really quick. So then it was very traditional as well. Apparently, like it's, the women end up doing the cooking and the guys do the serving, even though I don't know if it's meant to be that way, but that's just what happens in Italy.
Yeah.
Like the women just get annoyed with the men's effort.
Yeah.
Especially with any festival things that we have seen.
They had to jump back in.
Like you don't F with Nona when she's in the kitchen. It's her domain. Everyone's like, yes, sir, no, sir, 3 bags full, sir. Like it's very much fall into place. So
we paid like €5 for these like amazing kind of like hot dog and porchetta. Well, we got a porchetta sandwich first, and then we went back and got a hot dog. So we got like a double helping of it. And it was just absolutely delicious. And then we found out the following day, we did find out that Pepe's sister was the one who ran that sandwich stall. So that was absolutely gas.
Made sense for us. Yeah.
So Pepe, if you're listening,
we love you, Pepe.
You're a hero of the island.
Please take us back.
So that night when we were watching the whole big parade come in, there was boats coming in, then there was fireworks, and it was absolute madness. So we stayed out for a little while longer, and we ended up crawling back to Ischia Porte, and we ended up at a bar just around the corner from our accommodation, which was called Humores. We'll put a link into the description, but again, it's just right by the port, and the guy was super sound. It was really, really chill. We had a beautiful view of all the yachts.
Oh, the super yachts that were super expensive.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Awesome.
I'm sure we were absolutely wrecking their heads and drinking shots and having the crack. But it was just a really good, like, affordable bar that was a little bit more quiet,
cheap and cheerful.
Yeah,
it was just what we needed at the end of such a lovely night, drinking strong cocktails and eating porchetta sandwiches.
Yeah, but it is a place that like it was showing, because we were meant to go back early that night to watch. There was a huge Napoli versus
Lazio game.
So our plan was to go back to that bar to watch the game, but obviously because of the festivities, we didn't end up going back. So just a special mention to that bar because it seemed really cool, and we went back there 2 nights in a row, kind of late night, just for a late night drink, and your man was sound. He was really sound. So the following day we woke up and we were a little bit hungover. We'd had a few cocktails and we had planned that day to go to Poseidon Thermal Pool. You can't book in advance. You just have to like turn up. But it is, it can be up to €70 per day, or it's €37 for a half a day. They have all of these like different pools. I think there's like, how many pools were there? Like 19 different ones.
It was like 21 maybe.
21. Yeah. And it's also like a beachfront kind of place. There's bars. There's like 3 different types of restaurants there. And so I was, it's over on the Forio side. So it was kind of our only chance to go. It was our only scheduled day to go over to Forio. And again, we could have opted to stay a couple of nights on one side of the island and then a couple of nights in the other. But because we'd booked in so many other things around it, we were like, oh God, we're not moving. Let's just stay somewhere central. So that's why we decided to stay in Ischia Porto. But we decided to go to Poseidon. And from my research, it seemed like it seemed like the best for our group.
Yeah.
It's not a kid-friendly place. It is a spa, and also it's a €37 entry for a half a day. But for €60, you can get like a half an hour massage on top of that. So I was like, oh yeah, I want that, because we had just spent a month at the Edinburgh Fringe.
Yeah, working our balls off. We're like, we are going to a thermal suite and we are having massages, and everyone else in our group can do their own thing.
So I know everyone else in our group was like, oh, for God's sake, we have to get off now and cross half the island. Now, the island's only about 10 kilometers wide, but it's just getting on a bus and all that trickiness and whatever. So I was like, right, how can we make this as easy as possible? And so Cormac came into his own light.
Yes, I found Pepe. I went straight over. I saw the taxis and I was like, let's just ask how much it would be. So I went over with the limited Italian that I know, started asking the guy. Obviously, with the tourists that come to Ischia, he knew English. And we asked him how much would it be for 5 of us, blah, blah, blah. He said 50. We were like, do you know what? €10 a piece. That's cool. We can get over there.
The bus would be like €2.70, €3. Anyway,
it would also be longer as well. And, it would take us more time. So we just kind of wanted to get over there and get the most of the half day ticket.
And thank God we did.
Yes. Because as we said earlier, Pepe then, as lovely guy, we're chatting to him the whole way over. And then he was saying, well, look, this place closes at 7. He was like, he obviously knew it. And he said, I can come back and collect you at 7. And we were like, okay, perfect. Okay, we'll meet you there. Cool. Obviously not realizing then, like at 7, it's a couple of 100 people leaving.
A mass exodus, yeah.
Yeah, huge mass exodus. So
I thought he would take the highest bidder, to be honest. I really didn't think he was going to be still sat there.
He was sitting on the wall with a load of younger taxi drivers, all singing his praises, saying that you got the best taxi driver in all of Ischia. Pepe's a legend. We were just like, oh, wow. Yeah. And for us, he was a legend because he was there, ready to go.
He gave us a little tour, really.
He brought us around, like gave us a tour. It was a fixed price, so we didn't care that he was like bringing us an extra long way. And he knew how to avoid, because of that festival that was on the other side in Ponte, there were some roads closed. So he knew actually how to get around it and which ways to go. So he really saved our ass, because when we passed the nearest bus stop from Poseidon, there was about 40 to 50 people standing at the bus stop. So that's where it came in that we had heard about the buses being like sardine cans, that it was just so busy.
And we did see the delays come in later when we were sitting at that beautiful chicken restaurant. And we saw that some of the buses were delayed up to 2 hours.
Yeah, so
And
we
were like,
felt like absolute kings.
Yeah, we had been sitting
Pepe.
at a spa all day with our little chauffeur, and then got our chauffeur back, and then was eating chicken, and we got really, really lucky.
So no, the spa itself was incredible. Like they had a saltwater Olympic-sized swimming pool in one section. They had a massive walk-in sauna that was inside the cliff face. So it was just a huge cave sauna, which was spectacular. And then all of the other baths they're all basically slightly different temperatures. So there's two. So there's a cold plunge and the hot bath.
Yeah, so they do give you a little bit of a route. If you I would recommend going for the full day. We didn't have enough time.
We didn't have enough time. Yeah, like the three of us split from the group, the three lads. We all went off and tried to get as many pools as we possibly could just to experience it.
Because they start you off in like kind of a tepid warm pool and then get into a slightly colder pool afterwards. Then you work your way up in terms of heat. So it's like it starts off at like 23 degrees and then you get into maybe an 18-degree pool. Then the next one you go into a 25-degree pool, but then you get into a 17-degree pool, and it works your way up until you get into like a 35-degree pool, or like maybe.
I think the hottest we got into was 38, and then we got back into like a 16 or an 18-degree pool,
and it was freezing.
Yeah, like but your whole body felt incredible afterwards.
Yeah.
Like it was such. I would definitely, if we went back to Ischia,
and even my mom did it.
Yeah. She did it at the very last pool. Yeah, it was incredible. But I would definitely recommend to anyone make that the whole day, because there's 3 different bars and cafes. You can get food. The bars and cafes aren't that overpriced. Like they're not screwing you over.
No, oh my God, let's talk about the food. So
yeah, we got a whole deal going on.
Like a meat cheese platter, we got olives, we got so many different types of bread, we got like a few glasses of wine, a few beers, and the whole bill came to €38.
Yeah.
And I thought in that kind of place they would really nail us, but it was so cheap.
Because it's set up like a proper, like kind of holiday resort, nearly like a theme park, because it was like all brand new, and it was just.
I think if you were looking to go for like a super relaxing spa kind of week, and I think our Lake Como episode was the last one. Instead of your honeymoon being in Lake Como,
oh my God, go to Ischia.
Go to Ischia instead. There's so many different spas, and if you check in with hotels around the Forio or all over the Ischia island, they will do deals. So you can do like package deals with them. Instead of just going for like one day, you can go for like 3 half days or 3 full days, and they'll take a percentage off as well, or you can get discount codes. So I would highly, I just want to go back there.
Yeah,
oh my God,
so badly. Like, and the different levels of massages that they offer. They did like the lymphatic massages.
I got the lymphatic massage.
Yeah, it was absolutely like I just got like a relaxation massage, and that was really basic but just super nice. The staff are incredible. The place is super clean. It's really professionally run. But yeah, the best thing is the pools. I really enjoyed it. There was even a Japanese one where you walk through on stones and hot water on one side and then cold on the other in a huge like oval shape. And it just, and I have very bad feet, so that was incredible for me.
And I think for my mom as well, like she loves swimming in the sea, but obviously she can get like a little bit worried about the tidal stuff.
Yeah.
And so she was able to swim in that sea pool.
I did not think she was coming out of that sauna.
No, she wasn't going to come out of that sauna, and she wasn't going to come out of that sea.
She had her 2 things, and that was enough.
She was happy days, but she did the hot and cool plunge.
We did a hot one on the way out. Just we had like half an hour to go, and we just said,
even I did the cool plunge. I thought I would die, to be fair. But
I was loving it until someone told me to get out.
You were doing too much.
There was 3 Italian ladies who were just like, you shouldn't be in there too long. I was like, oh crap, sorry. And they're like 2 minutes maximum, not 5. I was like, my bad.
But no, the changing rooms, the restaurant, there's places to like get swim gear. There's places to get like, cigarettes if you need them, whatever. Like it's fully set up. Like,
it is available. Like it's there to be used for the entire day, where you don't have to bring anything if you're not prepared.
Yeah, they even had towels and all that kind of stuff.
Towels, swimming hats, as we said, change room, lockers, showers, like the whole 9 yards. Indoor pools, outdoor pools, like anything you could think of that place should have, they already had it.
If they just had a couple of tiki huts.
Yeah. That would have been sick.
Yeah. Like, can you just imagine like it's just a massive swim pool resort, but overlooking this huge Mediterranean.
Yeah, with its own
vista.
private beach. We didn't even go near the beach.
No,
we didn't even bother.
Didn't make the beach. So I don't know. Maybe at the end of 2024, when we make our millions from this podcast, we'll go back there for 3 days. And
sounds good to me.
Oh God, yeah, it was just class. So on another day, we did end up getting a little bit ripped off again in Ischia Porte, and this is just a warning. I don't mean to bring it from like a super high positive to a super negative, but it's just to warn you that in Ischia Porte, there's some places that are fabulous and are really good priced, but there are some really kind of
as in any like seafront, ocean facing restaurants or bars, they can up their prices, they can jack them up, and this one cocktail bar in particular decided to do exactly that. And it was 15 or 16 euro for cocktails. Which,
thank God my dad caught it. Like we went in and it was only because the music was a little bit like too thump. We'd been for a nice meal and we rocked in and there was a whole library book worth of fucking cocktails. And, we ordered around each and there was just a little bit of an alarm bell going off being like, how much are they going to charge us? How much is the Caperto going to be? How much is whatever? And thankfully, one member of our group was just like, let's go and look at the bill of this before
getting another round.
We get another round. And so for a bill of 5 drinks, 2 of which were just like really, really blasé beers, and the other 3 were kind of fancy. Well, 2 were really fancy cocktails and the other was just like a normal cocktail, and it was 79 euro for the round.
And we got like 2 bottles of water, and I think the water was like 7 or 8 euro a bottle. I think that's what really, really surprised me with the place, where the water was just so expensive.
So absolutely avoid Porto 51. When I looked up the reviews, it was all like, it's amazing. And like when you look at the Google reviews, it's like, great, it stays up until 2:00 in the morning and there's great atmosphere and it's whatever. It's like, there's great atmosphere if you're one of the rich people living on the yachts, kind of getting off and like having your cocktail and stuff. But
it was just, for us, it was kind of, for what we got, it wasn't worth the price. And they obviously saw 5 Irish heads come in and be like, here, we'll get these lads with a nice Caperto charge and a nice big water charge. So no, there was definite.
So that's why we went around the corner to Bar del Porto.
Del 1963.
So it's essentially a sandwich shop that sells beers out of the fridge, but has pretty much the exact same view.
Yep.
Not the best view. You're not quite on the waterfront, but you can still see the water.
Yeah.
You can still see the view. You just have like a slightly different aspect of it. And you can get like gigantic beers for like 4 quid.
It was glorious.
It was so glorious.
It was glorious.
So we definitely like hit up there a couple of times throughout the holiday, because I was just like, why would you be paying 18 to 20 euro for a drink when you could just rock around there? And
it was so good. Like it was so cheap.
The fridge was freezing cold.
Yeah, the beers were super cold. The staff were really nice, in fairness. I think it was like my favorite thing as well going into like these places is a lot of the bars and cafes, they'll have the bar counter, but then they'll have a separate cash desk. And there was just an ancient old Italian woman who looked like I had insulted her children when I walked in by just being there.
Us.
And
she hated everyone.
But like she just had that look, even though she didn't hate anyone. She just had that look in her eyes. I was like, ooh, this is going to be fun.
Yep.
And she was an absolute sweetheart.
And we got snacks.
And her husband was unbelievable, and they looked after us. And it was just, it was, we got snacks. They brought out more like beers. Once we started buying a couple of rounds, the service was getting quicker and better. And it was just, we were like, okay, this is cool. We liked it.
So it is really funny. Like, I think that whole holiday taught me, like, we've always gone for like the cheap and cheerful anyway, because that's what our budget demands.
Yeah.
But especially over that holiday, my dad was always like, don't believe in Google reviews. Don't always jump at like the highest reviews and stuff. And so to go from Porto 51, which was like, one of the highest reviewed bars in the whole island, then going to like the Bar del Porto, like, it's just so funny. Like Bar del Porto, I think it only has like 3.2 stars or something. It's just like, this place is shite. Like, it's just a bit of a cafe. But we admire it's the crack that you make it. It doesn't matter where you are.
Doesn't matter where you are. Like, beers are cold, the beers are cheap. Well, not even cheap, just reasonably priced.
No, that's just us being poor, love.
Yeah, I know. Trying to make it sound better for the podcast, love. We're not cheap bastards. We just like a good deal.
I'm going to let Cormac take over the honourable mention, which is maybe the reason why we might go back to Ischia at some point.
So one of the things I did fall in love with when I was there was the wine. The wine in Ischia was, I'm studying to be a sommelier, blah, blah, blah. But I have to say, WSE2? The wine there is incredible. There was one brand that's just based outside of Ischia, Porto. So we passed it on our way to Forio, called Siena Tempo. And I had their sparkling wine, and it was one of the nicest things I've ever drank in my entire life.
It was pretty dynamite. It's
pretty dynamite. A bit of research later, we found out that there's a lot of different tours and vineyard viewings that you can go and see. So depending on what your love of wine is, if you do love, going for vineyard tours, some of them are really expensive. You can go to tastings of some of the cellars. I think they were 100 to 150 euros for some of them. So they were quite pricey. It's really cool though. Like the wines there are really, really only found there. They don't grow them in many other places. Like some of the grape varieties they use are from ancient Roman and Greek times. So it's really hard to find them. So it is quite a unique experience. But Siena Tempo was the one that we drank. And I think your dad wanted to take the whole jug of wine that I had and drink it himself.
I have never seen you or my dad both fall in love with the white wine. Like, neither of you are white wine drinkers. And
no, I'm not the biggest white wine. I do love whites. I shouldn't really say it, but I love Spanish whites and other variety and German whites more than I love Italians. But holy moly, this stuff was, as your dad would say, nectar of the gods. And it really was. So yeah, you can definitely look up the vineyards if you go to Ischia. If you're a wine lover, it's a wonderful experience. They even have, like, a fun fact, they even have a little monorail that goes around because in the center is the mountain. This was Epimo, the name of the volcanic mountain in the center.
Oh yeah.
I'm not too sure. You Google it. Yeah, something like that. They have a monorail to collect all the vineyard, like to collect all the grapes from the vineyard, and it's really cool. So yeah, that's my fun little mention.
So this episode has probably gone on long enough. So instead of value for money, we're just going to rack it all into the total score.
Yeah.
And we'll do a general synopsis of each section. So transport, what are you going to give it out of 10?
I think transport, I'll give a good old 8.5.
Oh.
No, to get there was, I found once we found the port in Naples, because we walked around the wrong side of the castle, but then when we got to the actual
there was
port
work
itself,
being done as well.
Yeah, so that's the other thing. There was construction being done all around the castle, so you had to walk kind of, instead of walking directly, you had to go out and around. When we got into the port, it was very straight up, well organized signage, which Italians don't always love.
No.
But that was really good. Getting over there was great. The boat took exactly how long it said it would. When we got to the island, then there was buses, there was taxis. Like, the bus station is right there in front of the port. It's all really well laid out. Pepe was a goddamn hero. So yeah, no, 8.5 for me for transport. I think Ischia was better than I thought it would be for transport, for sure.
I think I'm going to give it a 9 because I was slightly concerned. Again, we had stayed in Naples like the night before, but we did find the port fairly handy after a few hours of research. But anyway, we did find the port handy enough. We got on the boat handy enough. It was okay for my mom to get over there, to get on and off the boats. When we did get there, buses, the whole lot. Could have gotten a taxi if, we were staying on a different part of the island. The taxis weren't extortionate by any means. But my biggest thing was that coming back. So when we were coming back from the island, you can literally just get out of the boat, walk about 150 meters and you're into the metro station. And I know that this is something that my family would really want to highlight because we were worried about getting the metro. We had to go to a different destination afterwards, and we thought maybe we'll just get a taxi and avoid the taxis at the ports in Naples at all costs.
Yeah, we started getting prices of like 35, 40 euro for about a 10-minute drive, like 15-minute drive maybe.
And it was just lucky that we knew Naples and we were like, you can get to shite, you know. But we got on the metro and it was super clean, super safe, very accessible. And so I did find that trip actually very easy. And I can see other people not only getting into the island, but getting out of the island very, very accessibly. So yeah, I think that it is, definitely for transport. I think that it was quite easy. Nothing got delayed. Happy days.
Accommodation, love.
Luca and that whole host, that Airbnb, it's always going to be very difficult to find a place for 5 adults. Italian residencies are not built for more than 2 bedrooms. They're just not. So to find that place that was so cost effective. And I mean, we spent 980 euro for 4 nights for 5 adults.
Yeah, which is incredible value. Incredible. And like the place was palatial.
It was palatial, and there was a lovely terrace out the back, and it was in the perfect kind of place. So I would give it a 9 out of 10.
I think I would absolutely agree. 9 out of 10 for sure. Again, like Luca as a host was unbelievable. They had probably like 100 bottles of water and 1 million coffee pods. So yeah.
You were happy with the El Nespresso as well.
It was really good. It was great just to have that in the morning because it was actually really good Nespresso pods that they used. So to have that like just in the kitchen ready to go with all the water, it was just like an extra. It's the small things that help make a really good Airbnb as well. And they just did a really good job of making us feel at home right away.
Yeah. And I think having the terrace meant that like we didn't have to spend so much money going out, or like if we wanted to have the lunches, or like my dad eats 1 million meals a day. So he was able to stock up the fridge for himself, you know.
Yeah.
So it did make it feel like a little bit of a home. And I think it was actually my parents' first ever Airbnb that they had stayed in.
Yeah.
And so that kind of opened up their eyes a little bit to the opportunities of places that you could stay in. Like not every Airbnb is just like a flat, you know. It's there are nice places out there. The food, I'm going to give like an 8 out of 10. I think if we were there by ourselves, but I'm trying to take it as like a group whole. So if we were there by ourselves, maybe it'd be like a little bit higher.
Yeah.
But because we had more of an opportunity to see other orders and everything else, and whilst there's like bigger groups, you know, people were kind of messing up the orders a little bit as well.
Yeah.
Which was a little bit frustrating. So, but yeah, I think 8 out of 10. I love the food there, and there was fresh seafood for you. There was meat dishes for me. There was pizzas there. There was kind of stuff for everyone, and obviously the chicken place.
Yeah, well, the chicken place alone gets a 10 out of 10. Like alone. No, I think
just eaten there every night.
Should have just eaten there. No one would have had a single complaint about anything if we had it there every night. No, I think for me, I give it an 8.5. I got lucky. I know in the restaurant where you got recommended the rabbit, I got a lovely clam pasta, and that was one of the nicer ones I've had on the like kind of the whole holiday in Italy.
I have never seen you so quiet. You were so happy just eating your seafood
because I had my really nice wine as well. Yeah.
Like, don't come near me.
And you were all just like, the rabbit's pretty good, and I was just like, this is savage. So I think I give it an 8.5. There was, as you said, there's 1 million different variety in Ischia, which is amazing. Like you can get your fresh seafood, you can get your really good. Because a lot of the guys obviously come over from Naples, and the Neapolitan style pizza is incredible. And it's the same in Ischia. The pizza is really high quality, but to get those like rotisserie chickens like on a grill, class, absolutely class.
For fun, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10.
Totally agree. 9. Absolutely.
The only thing was missing that was a part of our group was very like, I would have loved to do like a bit of water sports or rent a boat or do something
or
like that.
Or the e-bike or like something, because we only saw, 3 towns and like we didn't even see Forio actually. So we could have done a bit more exploring. So I think, definitely knock off a point for that for us. But
yeah, definitely 9 out of 10. There's so many different options. And like, just if you're thinking about going to Capri, like there's this girl that I went to primary school with. And when we first came to Italy, I saw that she was going to Capri for her honeymoon, and I was like, oh no, like you're just going to be charged through the feckin' nose. Now she probably has the money and that's grand, and I'm sure she had a lovely time, but I just look at it where it's so much better value for money. And like you can go to spas, you can go for treatments, you can like go to just like really cool beaches, you can rent boats if you want, you can get privatized boats, you can like there's just endless stuff to do there over a period of a week or two, especially if you've got someone who's into history or into wine or wants to
and everything is like fair price for what you get out of it.
I do.
That's what I really enjoy about Ischia. Like some stuff was expensive, some stuff was cheap, but everything was worth the money. 100%.
I do feel like that tour was like to Procide was a little bit of a letdown, and I think that's why it's like gotten a little bit of a minus point as well, where I just wish that they had brought us to that beach as well, or had given like a little bit more of a, seeing as they advertised it marketing wise as the beach at Il Postino.
Well, as well, they kind of said that they give us like snack/lunch, but it was a packet of crisps.
Like they did give us like chocolates and limoncellos and 2 beers and all that kind of stuff.
But we're kind of under the impression that we might get a little bit more bang for your buck from the tour itself, and slight letdown, but really good experience at the same time.
And I mean, to get the boat over there for 5 of us would have return would have cost us almost the same amount anyway, so it was great to get like the private boat and all that.
We felt like we were living our best yacht lifestyle on the way back, to be fair.
But so it's just to be careful about the experiences and just make sure that you really, really read the reviews.
So overall then, value for money, what would you give it for that?
Absolute rip off, never going back there again. No, I mean, I think that Ischia is the perfect in-between between Naples and Capri. It's a little bit too expensive for where it is, but situated right between Capri, that makes sense for why it is the price that it is. It's absolute vistas. The restaurants are great, but they're not totally amazing. I can see it just becoming more and more of a hotspot destination over time. And so I do think like if you are planning a trip to Italy, definitely get in the next year, because I think it's just going to become the way that we've seen Italy become in the last year. It is just going to be absolutely insane if you don't book it now. But it's not quite Capri. It's not quite Naples, but even Naples is getting a little bit more expensive. So I think for value for money, I'd probably land on like 7.5. I was expecting it to be a little bit cheaper than it was.
I'd probably give it an 8 myself. I thought it was really good for what we got. It was a stunning location. There's definitely room for improvement in value, but it is that thing where like everyone that we have met on our holiday that has been to Capri was like, don't go there. So it's not like we have a hatred for Capri. It was just that so many people recommended us to go to Ischia instead of Capri, and when we got there, it was just a little bit more, nearly just a bit more fancier than we thought it was going to be in the terms of price and value. So but I would give it an 8.
It was our first time, and this is something that we'll talk about in season 2. It was our first time going, apart from Lake Como, going on a real holiday in 8 or 9 months. And we did travel the whole of Italy at the tail end of COVID, and we got really lucky with the prices and stuff. So I think maybe we're just seeing a reflection of real prices. And in a year's time, we might be like, it was 11 out of 10 value, because to get those deals that we did were amazing. But I think we were just shocked at the price. But the accommodation, without a doubt, was fantastic value. Got ripped off a little bit with the meals. The spas were totally fine.
The fun, as we say, was unbelievable.
So if you find a really good deal on accommodation, for Ischia, just go there. Final thoughts.
I think Ischia is a really good location for anyone that's, as we said earlier, like as a honeymoon destination, or if you're looking for a holiday, if you've been working your balls off for months and you just want to go and hide on an island and have a thermal bath and just like a cheap beer in certain places.
And 100%, if you're thinking about Sorrento, feck Sorrento.
Oh my God, like
go to Ischia
over Sorrento any day of the week.
Like the prices of Sorrento hotels have actually doubled in the last year. It's absolute insanity. And if you really, really, really wanted to go to Sorrento, then you can get a 2-hour ferry from Ischia back into Sorrento, stay one night there, and then feck off home because it's just not worth it.
No, not worth it at all. Ischia for the win. So, will I initiate a drum roll for our total score? Sounds terrible. Drum roll, please.
You're going to announce it. Go on.
85.5.
Wow.
It comes in joint fourth with Lake Garda. One of our favorite places. So, boom. Straight up there.
Can I just say that like Ischia and Lake Garda are just number one and forget about all the rest?
Yeah, well, you'll have to argue with Salerno there because it's still sitting pretty at 98 out of 100.
It is, but we've been to Salerno a couple of times now. We're getting used to Salerno.
We're getting used to it now. I know, yeah.
No. I'd say definitely just go to.
So basically, what she's saying is, lads, we'll check back in with you once you've been to Ischia like 2 or 3 more times.
Yes, but as a holiday destination, and I think Salerno, Florence, and Naples are really high on our list because when we were traveling, we really were thinking about somewhere to move. And as holiday destinations, I think Lake Garda and Ischia are top of the list.
Like the other places, Salerno, Florence, Naples, like Rome, tourist destinations / holiday, brilliant. You want to go out and see like famous places with culture, great. But if you just want to fucking sit down, relax, take it all, like just get off the grid and disappear, Ischia, Lake Garda are the places for you, for sure. Yeah. For sure. Well, Jane, that's it. Final episode of season 1. How do you feel?
Stop it. Stop it.
We did it. We made it.
It only took a year.
So, it all came to an end. Big question is, are you looking forward to season 2?
We have a lot of news for you guys as we sit in our empty apartment with mattresses on the ground, and we will tell you all.
As we look forward to move into a new apartment in the following weeks, but I think that'll be a perfect season 2 opener. And yeah, thank you all so much for listening to the first season. We've even had some of you rock into the pub in Finnegan's.
Oh my God, thank you to
special shout out to all of you, because that was absolutely incredible. We didn't think we'd ever get people coming in and asking for us, but we really appreciate it.
If anyone listens to the podcast, please come in to Finnegan's Irish Bar and say hello to Cormac. You'll see him because he's about a skyscraper high, and we will give you any recommendations that you want.
Season 1. Peace out.
Out. This is hopefully the end of season 1, although we might do a bonus episode. If you liked our podcast, then please subscribe and please give us a 5-star review. It takes just a couple of seconds. You can follow us on socials at Altlivin, and you can download our Excel sheet with all of our accommodation, restaurant, transport, experience and budget details for our 6-week holiday on altlivin.com.